Sorry. That's better. Question. What kind of bear is best?
That's a ridiculous question.
False. Black bear.
Well, that's debatable. There's basically two schools of thought. One.
Fact. Bears eat beets. Bears beets. Battlestar Galactica.
Bears do not. What is going on? What are you doing?
Last week, I was in a drugstore and I found these glasses, $4, and it only cost me $7 to recreate the rest of the ensemble, which is a grand total of $11.
You know what? Imitation is the most sincere form of flattery, so I thank you. Identity theft is not a joke, Jim. Millions of families suffer every year.
Michael?
Oh, that's funny. Michael!
Good morning, Newton North, and Happy New Year. Welcome to the first NN Update of 2024. I'm Alexia Rindisbacher.
And I'm glad that we established that I am the real Oren Pinhasi.
What's your resolution, Oren?
You know, as a musician myself, I've always wanted to explore new music in the new year.
Then the place for you is Wantlist Records. They have an extensive collection of unique music and vinyls to explore. Ruby Metcalf has the story.
From the crackle of the first phonograph to the sleek grooves of vinyl today, records have made a unique resurgence, reminding us that they are a timeless testament to where the nostalgia of a needle drop meets a new era in music. And in the heart of this resurgence, there's Wantlist Records, a haven for music enthusiasts curated by the dedication of two friends, Brian and Dave. What began as a shared hobby has grown into a community for vinyl aficionados, fueled by their desire to share their love of records.
I think anyone who's been a record collector for any length of time, you just kind of always imagine, like, wouldn't it be cool to run a record store? And the opportunity came up and we just said, hey, why don't we give this a shot? It's been a lot of work, but a lot of fun.
What makes our store unique from a lot of other shops is that we don't purchase new music from distributors. If there's new titles in here, it's because we bought them used from people.
Navigating the streaming age proves challenging for a secondhand store. However, Dave and Brian find the experience of listening to records far more immersive and engaging.
I don't stream music, I don't listen to Spotify. I could, and it would make things easier, but so that's no fun.
The people that come here still want to touch their music. I listen to streaming stuff too, but I also like to physically touch the records. It's just like part of the ritual for me.
There's a reason that there are people who've been doing this for decades and decades and stick with it.
The secondhand nature of the records allows a wide variety of genres to accumulate at the store. Even the owners have a hard time keeping up.
The thing I always say is that the way to kind of humble yourself in thinking you know a lot about music is to start a record store. You realize that there's so much stuff that comes in and you're just like, oh, wow, I didn't even know that was a genre, or I didn't even know anything about this artist. I didn't know this person existed, and now they're one of my artists I look for.
Stores like Wantlist Records are helping to grow the record community one vinyl at a time.
Are people who come in and they're like, oh my God, this has been on my want list for 20 years. I can't believe this is here. And we get to bring them that moment of joy. Those are my favorite moments.
I go in looking for one record and I walk out with 10 that I didn't want, and that's kind of the beauty of it.
In a world of streaming, Wantlist Records keeps the music alive and people engaged for years to come. For NNTV, this is Ruby Metcalf.
Thanks, Ruby. Big things are in store for Wantlist Records. Over December break, Brian and Dave moved to a more accessible location. Their incredible collection can now be found at 113 Trapello Road in Belmont.
I look forward to browsing their selections soon. Wantless Records isn't the only place where fascinating hobbies come to life.
In our next story, reporter Oren visits Gaming Underground, an arcade known all over the world but well known by few, to take a deep dive into their lively community.
Located on Waltham's renowned Moody Street lies an arcade like no other. Founded in 2007, Game Underground has become a staple for players in the industry and has built an inclusive, flourishing community.
We give the community a place to come, like a central place or hub for everybody to meet up in real life for their interests. So whether it's Magic the Gathering or Dance Dance Revolution, you can come here and find other people that like the same things as you.
Owner and CEO Jamie York has been in business for 15 years, and since his humble beginnings as a fledgling entrepreneur, he's witnessed his store grow far larger than he ever imagined.
There was people here from California and New York last week playing music games. To have people flying here from other parts of the country, it's humbling, it's overwhelming, and I really appreciate that.
The store has become an icon for gamers all around the world, giving people a place to trade and buy their favorite games from a local storefront. However, Game Underground is dealing with the challenge that physical arcade locations have become less relevant in the face of online gaming.
Microsoft has an awesome service where you can play 200 games for $15 a month, and I love it and I appreciate it, except for as a store owner, because it's harder to get games traded in if people are buying it all digitally.
The accessibility of online gaming has connected millions of people around the globe through the comfort of their own home. However, Game Underground takes gaming to the next level by making it less of an isolated hobby and more of a sporting event surrounded by people cheering you on.
You win a Street Fighter match in a tournament and everyone here's cheering, you can't, it's still fun to play online, but that doesn't exist unless you're somewhere, you know what I mean?
The support Jamie receives from his community is what's kept him going all these years. But also the support Jamie gives is not underappreciated. Dan Lehman of Traveling Controller organizes the tournaments at Game Underground.
Honestly, it's because of Jamie and the ownership of the store. It's a super welcoming environment, and they make it that way, so everyone that comes here is chill, is here to play games. It's a real community-based atmosphere.
Game Underground is not like any other arcade, and places like it are valued and important for connecting people face to face.
I was at a convention, I was selling some Pokemon cards, and this kid came over and was like, oh, here's Venusaur, and I was like, oh, what's your favorite Pokemon? And he started talking to me like any other kid normally would, oh yeah, well I like Blastoise, but Charizard is my real guy, and in the game I make sure I have the most powerful one, or whatever we were talking about. And then he walked away, and his dad was crying, and I was like, what is going on? And he was like, I don't know how to tell you this. That's the most my son has ever talked to anyone about anything in person. And I was like, whoa.
Helping people be themselves is rooted in the Game Underground community, and Jamie realizes that he's a part of something greater than himself.
I had two people that became friends through coming to my store, and I actually officiated their marriage. It was maybe I'm doing something even way more important than I even realized. And if I can change other people's lives for the better, incredible. So there you go.
The community at Game Underground has found that the in-person connection is an experience that cannot be replaced. For NNTV, this is Oren.
I had an awesome time at Game Underground. These just might be my people.
While the face-to-face interaction is indispensable, for some, spending time with animals can be just as beneficial.
Lovelane horseback riding is a therapeutic experience for kids with disabilities. Sydney Winton trotted over to the farm.
Tucked away in the rural woods of Lincoln, Massachusetts, Lovelane horseback riding provides a distinctive therapy experience for kids with special needs. Therapeutic riding is a form of physical therapy that is both enjoyable and beneficial for improving the physical and social well-beings of individuals with disabilities.
Definitely my favorite part of my job is the relationships that I get to make with my students.
When instructor Cassie Clark first arrived at Lovelane right out of college, she didn't know how rewarding the work would be.
Just fell in love with the mission and everything, and I decided I wanted to become an instructor here. And that was 16 and a half years ago, so I'm still here.
Program manager Jenny Cook has felt the same connection to Lovelane and has observed the large amount of progress her students have made.
I really love the community that we have and the relationships. So, getting to know my students on a weekly basis and then helping them build their relationships with the horses as well. I have a student that I've been working with all fall, and he is a little bit tentative about the horses. And then this last week, he came up to his horse, Vicky, and gave her a big full-handed pat and just had the biggest smile on his face. He was so proud of how brave he was.
Horses may seem unusual for such a delicate task, but these gentle giants help to improve motor skills and confidence for their riders. 6-year-old Felix has been riding at Lovelane for 2 years after his mom set out a unique therapy experience for him.
Wanted to find a program that could boost his confidence, so I researched, read a lot of good things about Lovelane. We came and toured the barn and met the great trainers, and then we decided to sign up with their different programs.
Bam, do you want a treat? Smile. Oh, good pony.
Even with skilled trainers like Cassie and Jenny, horses aren't always predictable.
Horses are animals, so they're not machines, and we need to take special care of them. Maintaining the horses and keeping them healthy and happy is probably one of the bigger challenges in this industry.
Therapeutic riding provides students with not just therapy, but a fun after-school activity they can look forward to every week.
I think that we give our students a sense of normalcy, so they come here each week, and for half an hour, however long they're here, they get to do something that's like quote unquote normal. Even though they are building strength and working on their therapeutic goals, it's a lot more fun than just another doctor's appointment or another therapy appointment.
After working at Lovelane for so many years, Cassie and Jenny have been able to witness firsthand the multitude of benefits that Lovelane brings.
There's one student who I currently work with. They've been riding here at Lovelane for 15 years. And I remember the first day that she came to ride, and she was so nervous and so small, and she has cerebral palsy. I don't know if that at that time the parents understood what a big part of her life Lovelane would become. She identifies herself as an equestrian, and every time she meets somebody, she says, "I'm a rider, I ride at Lovelane," and it's really important to her. So it's not just physical therapy for her, it's so much more than that.
I think every morning that I get to wake up and come to the barn and share the gift of our horses with our students and just with our volunteers, with everyone who's here, I feel just really lucky to be a part of this community.
For both instructors and riders, it is clear that Lovelane provides a welcoming and beneficial community, and will continue doing so for years to come. For NNTV, this is Sydney Winton.
Thanks, Sydney. Lovelane is certainly improving the lives of both its riders and its employees.
That's all for this episode. If you have your own stories to share, DM us on Instagram at Newton North TV. We're looking forward to hearing from you. Again, I'm Oren Pinhasi.
No, you're not. Happy New Year from NNTV. And we'll see you soon.